Okay, that was weird. I do not know what's up with my macros. Clearly, I've got something misconfigured, so my button needs some work. Welcome, everyone. I am back. Hopefully, that false start wasn't too bad there. I've been gone the last couple of weeks out on a trip to Taiwan. It was great. Did a bunch of training. Contemplating doing some version of the training on stream here. I don't know if people are interested. So it was corporate training for one of our clients on GitHub Copilot. Hello, sounds good now. Thank you, Rollers. Appreciate it. Yeah, so I've kind of hedged on doing AI based training or too much content just because it goes so fast, and I know as soon as I do it, it'll be worthless in just a few months. It's like, but at the same time, I spent a bunch of time putting together presentations that I did, and so I kind of have them in my back pocket at the moment, and I'm like, well, they're currently relevant, so contemplating that. But on the note of content, so while I was gone, even though there was no streams on Thursdays, well, for me it's Thursday, for some people it's Friday. I did put out videos out on my YouTube. So for people who hadn't seen it, I'm gonna go back to clicky clicky since I don't trust my little stream deck at the moment. So I have a playlist sitting out on my YouTube channel called Interviews. And before it started off with just like Mads Christensen because it was one of those. It was like, great. He offered to come on and have a discussion about the new VS 2026. That was cool. Then Mads Torgensen was willing to come on and do some C# stuff, which is great. And then I was like, well, shoot. Things kept going, and I went to MVP Summit and I talked to a bunch of people, and like I put out the first week I was gone. We did Aspire with Maddie, which was great. Last week it was Tim Corey, which I highly recommend, especially for people who maybe are in the same position as me and kind of burned out on AI hype. Um, yeah, full time interviewer channel. Yeah, I don't know if I'd go that far, Kenny. However, I will say this. So this was 2 weeks ago. This was last week. This was today. And I've got three more scheduled. So I don't know how long I can keep this up. And I can't and I thought about going through because I was listening um the .NET Rocks guys were talking at one point, and people always ask them, how to do a successful podcast because they are clearly very successful. And one of the things they're like is don't sign up for a weekly podcast. It's like, oh, great. So exactly what I have just done. No, dear heavens, Rollers, no. I do not have an. I had somebody ask me the other day. They're like, "When do you sleep? It seems like you're doing a lot." I'm like, "That's a really good question. That's a very good question. I think I've spread myself a little too thin. So my goal is to not take on more work. We'll get to that in a moment because I think I'm about to take on more work. Um, but I thought about kind of like delaying these interviews and spreading them out. That way, I could have something more consistent and have it go longer. But honestly, I felt like a lot of this content is like relevant now. Like the stuff with Steve is a little more I won't say timeless, but it's not as time bound. But some of the other stuff like Aspire moves fast. They're putting out updates like every month, every other month. Like they move quick. And so it didn't seem prudent to delay anything. Just put it out as soon as I've got it cuz it takes me a day to record it and a few days usually to go through cuz I don't do a ton of editing on them, but I clean them up a little bit. So I was like, you know what? Great. Like let's go through and do that. But I figured, you know what? The rest of my stuff has never been overly consistent in scheduling, and so you know what? These are just going to keep coming on. I think at fastest a weekly cadence because I've got a bunch of them scheduled, and I'm going to keep them coming. And so if people have thoughts of who they would like to see me talk to, because frankly, a lot of these people are great to talk to, I'm going to keep going. And on that note, I'm going to leave people in a little bit of suspense. I've got one scheduled that I'm supposed to be recording on Monday. I'm planning on releasing it Wednesday or Thursday next week. It's going to be awesome. Just going to say that. Probably someone most of you haven't heard of, but you will want to watch it. I promise. I am very excited for some announcements that are coming soon. So, and this person is responsible for some of the announcements. So if that teases it out enough for people, it's pretty cool. Check it out. Should be coming, like I said, Wednesday, Thursday-ish next week. Timing a little TBD because I'm trying to time it to line up with somebody else's release, so it's not fully in my control. But it'll be cool. It will be cool. So if you are interested, check it out. I feel like these are not my usual deep dive technical content, but clickbait stream teasing all these upcoming videos. I know it's gonna be good though. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be really good. But again, there is gonna be I suspect stream next Thursday is gonna be lit because there's just so much stuff coming. Oh, one more thing to tease out. Spokane.net user group. There is an event coming up next Tuesday. So as I'm sitting here, it's April 30th. Cinco de Mayo, May 5th, 5 p.m. So whatever time it is where my stream starts, back yourself up 4 hours. This one is probably going to actually go the full 90 minutes because we've got 4 presenters, of which I am one of them. But we're going to go through, we've realized that a lot of people are like, oh, hey, I didn't know you could do this, or I didn't know you could do that. And so we're going to talk through what our developer workflows look like on a day-to-day life. Hey, yes, Robert, WPF, we're getting there, promise. But we are going to go through and show off like what our development workflows look like, some of which I'm going to show you tonight. But just as a way of kind of sharing information, because we realized kind of all 4 of us that have been doing a lot of work recently, like we all kind of have slightly different flows that we end up doing with various forms of like AI infused stuff. I feel like on one hand, I use it a lot, but at the other hand, I feel like I'm also a lot more critical of it than most people. So, but with that said, like used well, it is a powerful tool. So, but if people are interested, feel free to sign up. If you happen to be in the area, drop by in person. It'll be good. Otherwise, you can always join on the live stream on Intellitek's YouTube and get it that way. So it's always there as an option if people want to. So, but it is a good one. Okay, next one that I want to show off. So this one I unfortunately did not get a chance. Oh, will it let me deep link into the? Yes, perfect. They fixed that. So GitKraken v12 released, and unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to realistically have time because I think it came out right before I left, and I didn't have time to sit down and play with it. I was prepping my other presentation stuff, and technically 1201 came out, but 1201 was kind of just a fast follow addressing a couple issues that are around it. The meat and potatoes is v12, and that's kind of what I want to show off because this is the direction I think a lot of developer tooling is going to be headed, especially in the AI era. So just to be clear and kind of lower everyone's expectations accordingly. Microsoft MVP, I work for a Microsoft partner. That means I do a lot of Copilot. So some of what I'm going to show is going to be directly applicable if you're like a Claude person or whatever, great. If it seems like I'm biased towards Copilot, it's because that's where I get my free tokens from. So I'm biased towards the place where I get a lot of free tokens. So who would have thunk? But with that said, the basic premise here is this idea of agent sessions. So, and I think I'm gonna point this out because I know it's gonna come up a bunch. This is my living document for AI guidelines. If people are interested, I reserve the right to change this at will. I keep rewording things a little bit, but I just like I need to point these things out for people because sometimes people will see me present AI stuff and they'll jump off the deep end. So rule 1, avoid AI when learning is desired. This is my most important one. So if you are trying to learn something, be very cautious on your AI usage. I cannot stress that enough. It is way too easy to accidentally use it as a crutch. Yes, it can be a learning aid. It is way too easy to jump off that cliff. So be cautious there, right? And then the other big one is you need to be better than the AI, which means you need that learning. You need to know when the AI is lying to you. You need to know when it's giving you a bad solution. There's not a good, there is no substitute for that. So just going to throw those out there. Those are my 2 big ones at the moment. Let's see. During the 1990s, tokens for the arcade machines were a lot more cool. I agree. I agree. I actually have some from a local arcade from when I was younger. I should see if I can find those sometime. They were kind of cool with coins. You weren't supposed to take them home, but I absolutely did. So just going to preface it there with that of do take that in mind. With that said, I have found that I can accelerate myself very quickly because I can tell the AI what I want the same way as if I had an army of interns and scribes sitting next to me and say, go do this, go do this, go do this, right? And once I have that, it means I can spend a lot less time on menial work or refactoring work or otherwise when it's like, yeah, I know what needs to happen, but the amount of time it's going to take me to make all those changes, like we did a whole entire stream where I upgraded to T unit. If I would do that today, Copilot would do a bunch of heavy lifting for me and rip through the repository doing that. Because after the first handful of files, I wasn't learning anything. It was just, relaxing to be able to go through and do. So, with that said. But the thing with a lot of these agent sessions is an agent running inside of a local repository usually tries to treat the repository like they own it, like they are the only ones in there editing. Because the agent may decide to kick off a build, it may decide to go run tests. And that's problematic if there's another editor in there, whether it be human or agent, mucking with files and making changes mid-flow. Like those two things are not often synchronized together. Hey, VChair 6535, thanks for the follow. So just be aware of that. And so because of that, the way that I'm seeing a lot of developer tools go is leveraging Git work trees as a way of segmenting them, because work trees are like having a second clone of your repository, except for you don't pay the cost of the .git folder. So that is a key difference there. So they are a cheaper way of having a second clone, but they are on disk a separate directory, so you can give your agent that directory and let it go to town on it. Great. That is ideal. And I'm seeing a lot of agent tooling like ReSharper. I think their product is called Air, I think is what it is, has built something very similar to this. The GitHub app that GitHub teased at their India conference a couple weeks back showed something very similar to this. All of these things are kind of going down there, and GitKraken now has something built into GitKraken desktop for this agent sessions view, which is kind of similar. So one more term to make sure everyone is caught up on. So Copilot, even though it is Microsoft uses it for like a huge number of different things, there is no one Copilot. There is a bunch of Copilots, and they all are different despite sharing the same name, right? So in particular, the one we're interested today is the Copilot CLI, which in my opinion is one of the best Copilots. They also, if you want updates rapidly, they push multiple updates a day. Like it is shocking how fast they are pushing out updates. You will get used to typing Copilot/update a lot because they just keep coming, which is cool if you want latest and greatest stuff because there is a ton of stuff coming. Yeah, Robert, I agree. CLI is one of the best way to go. So inside of GitKraken v12, we get this new lovely little agents thing up here, which is cool. And I'm going to temp my button. Oh, look at that. It worked. Great. Called agents. Not really sure why they called this one list. I don't know. Feels weird. No one consulted me on the name. But we get this agent session thing. And this is where the coolness starts, right? So we can go new agent session, and we can give a branch name and just start. So if we don't want to think real hard, this is the easy path. You give it a fun branch name, test, hit start, you're off to the races. But I want to expand out the options here real quick because I think this really shows what's going on under the hood. So GitKraken supports multiple coding agents, and it detects which ones you have installed. In my case, Copilot CLI is its only choice because that's all I have on this machine. And I might have to check their docs for what they support. I want to say it's going to be Claude, Gemini, and OpenCode, but don't quote me on that. And actually, we can probably look at the setup. Nope. Not going to be there. One of these guys here has their, the coding agents, but it's auto detecting what's installed. So my list is going to be significantly reduced. But we can now pick a base branch of where we want to start from, and it will spin a new branch based on that branch in a work tree, which is going to be in a new folder, which is awesome, right? This is what we want. Now, we could do this already without this feature, right? Like if we are on older GitKraken, right? There's nothing stopping me from from coming. Where am I? I'm lost. Work trees, of coming over here and just doing add new work tree, picking my base branch, giving it a new name, and then creating work tree, and then I go and open up the terminal and I point it at that directory and I'm off to the races, right? Like I can do all of those steps. This agents tab automates all of those steps so that all I have to do is type the new branch, because oftentimes these things are coming rapid fire. Now, the only disadvantage that I have found with work trees is because they are kind of like a fresh clone, things like NuGet restore, npm install, all of those things, you are basically getting like a fresh clone. So doing those types of setup is kind of important if you expect your agent to be able to build or otherwise, right? You can prompt it into doing those things, but often I found that those are systematic things that I want. This is what GitKraken agent supports. Let's see, Claude. Oh, Codex CLI. That's the one I'm missing. Open Code, Copilot CLI, and Gemini CLI. Oh, see, I did pretty good. I only missed Codex. Thank you, Robert. So this automates that process, right? It takes it down to give me a name, let me start working. Every day you're closer to making me try GitKraken. Kenny, you should come back. Come back next week. I'm gonna have so much cool stuff to show you. I'm hoping everything's released by next Thursday because I want to show some cool stuff off. I got some stuff to show. Go back to GitKraken. GitKraken is awesome. It is still by far my Git tool of choice. Oh, one other thing I wanna mention. I think did they link it in their release notes? Did they? I don't know that they did. They didn't. Dang it. Wish they. So learn.gitkraken.com has had their Learn course for a while, but I think if you go all courses, yeah. So they do have, and I will put this one out here if people are interested. Is they do have this Git control for AI coding workflows. And so this is absolutely, so it is new. I went through it myself, did a bunch of feedback on it, which was great. Like, it is worthwhile doing, especially if you were just starting out. It's kind of a weird one because it's written in a way of it kind of tries to balance that line between, is this a new engineer that's kind of early in career, fresh to the field, may not have a solid foundation of Git. So some of the stuff in there might feel like review for people who maybe have gone through the foundations of Git course and have done it already. So there's a little bit of a weird line there where it's like it tries to make sure it incorporates all this new agentic flow stuff, but then it does cover like work trees and spinning this stuff up. But it also tries to make sure that there's a little bit in there to catch people up if maybe people aren't overly familiar with Git at the same time. And so there is a bit of that there. So if people are interested, again, this is all free learning. Like learn.gitkraken.com, leverage it. It's great, right? And so all of this stuff built in, there's lots of improvements and whatnot. But again, this agent sessions tab is the big one to be able to go through and do. And I think we're probably going to leverage this a little bit even tonight as a starting point, because I do love the CLI very much. The other big thing that they did is they made a lot of changes here to this terminal. One, they upgraded because it's built on the same underlying library that VS Code uses. I want to say Monaco, but that feels like I've got the name slightly messed up. But actually, it's probably in the release notes down here of. Oh, is it? Oh, it might be Xterm GS. Monaco might be the editor. I'm probably mixing up my terms. I don't do VS Code extensions, so forgive me. But this terminal got a lot of really, really nice upgrades, like drag and drop support for files and text into the terminal. That's kind of big, right? Like being able to go through and grab those things, faster rendering, nicer support. And here's the one that just makes me happy, right? I double click to change work trees, and it changed my directory into the work tree. Like, I was so tickled to death when this is one of those minor things, but it has been a major annoyance to me because previously, v11 GitKraken would always leave the terminal right where it was at and wouldn't mess it up on you. And I get it. I understand why you don't want to move somebody's terminal around on them. But functionally, my conceptual model says work trees are two separate directories. I want to treat them as two separate terminals. Right? That's the way my brain thinks. Rather than work trees are an extension of the main clone, I think of them as functionally completely separate. And so the fact that it now changes this, hallelujah. So as I go back and forth, my working directory changes, we're off to the races. This is absolute gold, right? This is awesome. So again, not just simple improvements. Even the little improvement, because it used to have the little box and now it's the flat cursor. It feels nicer. It feels a little nicer. And you can definitely tell the snappiness of it. So anyway, there is that. GitKraken v12. Check it out. I do think the tooling support of having agents working in work trees and bringing that work back together is the way we're going to see a lot of tools go. I strongly am suspicious that that's the way it's going to be. My workflow has been a lot of I will be spinning work trees, working on them, or letting an agent work on them, and then when the agent's done, I will come in because it's just a clone of my repo. I'll come in, fire up Visual Studio, do whatever I need to do, clean up the agent's work, and then we do the rebase and all of that jazz, and we're off to the races, right? Wonderful stuff. Because again, work tree may be a separate folder here, but at the end of the day, it's still just pushing branches to the repository like any other branch. It's just rather than when I'm changing branches, I'm changing directories rather than mucking with my files within the current directory. So you do have to kind of conceptually keep that in mind, right? Your Visual Studio isn't going to change because you changed work trees. You have to actually open up a separate Visual Studio inside that work trees folder. Okay, with that said, we're going to go back here, we're going to go back here, we're going to go here, and we have, where'd it go? All over the place. Okay, we've got PRs out here because I was gone and I saw people doing work. So, that I think we're going to do. So this one, I was actually surprised when I saw this PR come through. I briefly looked at it already. I thought we had done this already. Like, I thought we had already done, and maybe I'm getting this confused with a version of this equality to visibility converter that I've built in other projects. But I thought we had done this. So the only thing I wanted to test with, so this looked fine, but I don't know how the init's going to play. So I want to test it on there, and then I want to fix the space here on the gets. And I thought about leaving comments on here, but I'm like, we'll just check it out and test it. So we are going to go test it really quick. Let's see. So, create work tree from pull request. Yeah, sure, why not? There. That way we don't create work tree. Oh, this is new. I haven't seen this yet. Open a new tab. Yes. I'm going to move this over here. The side project of mine that I've been playing with. I like this. I like this. This is not. Oh, I like this. Okay. So now if I go Control-Shift-E, which I have bound up to my Visual Studio, let's fire this sucker up. So I just want to verify. I don't know. So the init keyword in C# is sort of special, right? If we look at sharplab.io, right? If we go here, so if I go public int foo get init, right? So if we do this, right? This guy is kind of special in that the way this gets implemented is a little funky. And so we are going to go down to IL because I want to show the mod rec. Okay, so down on here, where is it? Where's the mod rec? Don't make a liar out of me. Where are you? Let's see. Value mod rec. There it is. Okay, so this is a very special thing that most people don't realize in C Sharp. So when you invoke a function, there are metadata, I guess is the best way to describe it, that get passed along with that call. And when there is a mod rec, so just to be clear, when I'm saying mod rec, that's horrible. I can't do this, right? MODREQ, right? What this is saying is that in order to invoke this setter, because this is the setter for the foo property, right? So properties behind the scenes generate a lowercase set underscore property name and a get underscore property name, assuming you have a getter and a setter, right? Because there's the get up here, right? But what this is saying is when you invoke the setter, because properties are just special functions, that function invocation must pass this modifier requirement of is external init, right? Fine. The thing is, modrec, there is no C# equivalent for I want to pass this modifier equivalent. This is something that exists at the IL level, but does not exist at the C# level. This is not a thing. So in order to invoke this, the compiler has to know to compile in and actually pass this modifier requirement. So if I do something like, let's see, var bar gets new foo, that's not confusing to anybody, right? And I do, oh, I guess, oh, hey Lou, don't do that. Let's call this, oh, this is C, not foo. Stop it. Foo equals 2, right? Oh, I'm sorry, 42. Obviously got to use if I'm going to use a random number, it has to be the right random number. And do that maneuver. All right, so if we go and grab, boom, let's see. Oh, I think if I highlight here, this guy here. So you'll note when he goes to, so the regular call here, if we do a set, I'll just demonstrate the difference. Right? If I just do a set and we look at this, right? We come down here. For people who don't know IL, brief lesson time. Everything works on a stack. So in this case, creates a new object instance that goes onto the stack. We duplicate the object instance so that we can consume it and still have a reference there. We then do a call virtual, and because call virtual, the first parameter, this parameter, is the thing that was most recently on the stack, which is the duplicated call from here. It's going to consume that off the stack. We're calling a method that takes in a single parameter, so it grabs the next thing off the stack, which is here. So there's your this parameter, there's your 42. It calls set foo, passes an int. Everyone's happy. We're off to the races, right? That's the functional difference. If we make this an init, this guy changes slightly in that he's still doing the new object. I resize this. Oh, it won't let me resize the middle window. That's annoying. It still does the new object, still duplicates it, puts the new object duplication onto the stack, loads 42 onto the stack. And then here it does a call virtual, but you'll note rather than just calling set foo like it was doing before, it's now also passing this modifier requirement along with the set, allowing the call to go. So this modrec is enforced by the runtime, but the compiler generates it to make the runtime happy. Great, that's what we expect. There's no way to do this in C#, but because of that, the language team then can kind of abuse this power as a way of ensuring that init works the way that we want. So what happens is the compiler enforces that init needs to work this particular way. And so it will only decorate a call if it's in an initializer. So if I try to do something like bar foo equals, 1, stop deleting my code, thank you, right? The compiler refuses to output IL where it's not inside of an initializer with that modifier requirement. So the compiler enforces it. But this is also why reflection still works for like JSON serialization, is because even though there's this modifier requirement, things like reflection dodge a lot of requirements. That's why you can dodge like protection or access modifiers as well. Because with reflection, you can set a private property. That's fine. Reflection has special powers. And so reflection still works with the modifier requirement because reflection doesn't care. It says I'm gonna call that setter. I don't care what the mod requirements are, and it works because the runtime allows it to go through and do it. So we have all of that loveliness in place, but that's how init works. Back to the PR. Right? What are you saying? 203 is missing, huh? Did I? Lovely. If I have to go through and update my SDK. Also, I have downgraded. I'm sorry. I got rid of most of my pets, but I still have one debugging duck. So if it annoys people, let me know and I can make the debugging duck go away. But he's gonna be my little friend today. Because darn it, sometimes having a little duck is helpful. And so he provides a nice thing to be able to go through and do. Ooh, nullable value types. We might. That looks like a Copilot problem. So, okay, good. We compiled just fine. Okay. Okay. So which converter? It was the equality to visibility converter. All right. So equality to visibility converter. So what I don't know is I don't know how this is going to behave in XAML. I think it's going to behave the same as reflection, but I don't actually know. So that's what I want to test. We're gonna do this maneuver and just flatten this out a little bit. Okay, so static read only. I get a little twitchy when I see. What are you trying to do? Visible on inequal. Oh, there's a double EN. Thank you, Copilot. You fixing spelling. I approve of spelling fixes because I'm bad at it. Thank you. You've earned your keep today. Okay, so let's see where we're leveraging this because I just want to go plug it in somewhere. Ooh. So we are only leveraging it here. Let's just go plug it in the demo app because the only reason this is here, and actually maybe I should double check this. Yeah, this isn't in our internal namespace, so it is a public API. So I do want to be careful that I don't break somebody accidentally, right? Like this one gives me a little bit of pause. This one we may end up whacking. I don't know that I like it because it's basically the invert of the default. I'm hesitant to grumble, grumble, grumble. Yeah, we may whack it, but let's go to the demo app because I want to make sure that we can change it and actually have it work properly. And demo, and then we'll just do the home page because why not? Okay. And collapse that. Okay, so we are going to go here. And let's see, so oh, I don't have converters out here. Oh, it'll probably pick it up. Let's see. X key. You want to earn your keep, Copilot? Thank you. And then there we go. Why did oh, I got it. Okay. XML namespaces. Okay, and so I want to change this here to make sure that this actually works properly. And so we want to have quality value equals collapsed. Inequality value equals visible. All right, so we're going to do that, I think. And then, sure. And then I want to pick on something simple. Let's see. Visibility, binding. We'll make a foo property. Converter, static resource, equality to visibly converter, and then converter parameter, 42, obviously. Okay, Let's actually do string 42 because I don't want to deal with type conversions. There we go. Okay, so I just need your backing view model, which should be domain home. Nope. Main window view model. There we are. Pretty confident this is it. If not, we'll know here real quick. So let's go with observable property, private string foo. It's 42. All right, and so I expect that when we launch this, why did that? Oh, because I hit the wrong drop down. There we go. That's the other drawback of a cancel of a work tree is occasionally things that aren't saved in the repository, like the config for which project open, may not be set. Again, it's like a fresh clone, which is great. Okay, so that did go away, right? So that appeared to work because we don't see the material design in XAML toolkit. Or do we? No, we do. What's this squiggle? No data context found for binding. Go here. Let's go here. Then let's relaunch because again, I want to make sure that it's actually setting those properties properly. Doesn't. Let's see. Foo property not found on demo IO because it is down a level. So my main window view model where I put foo, not acceptable. It's actually on the demo item itself. So where is the demo items? We're just gonna put it here and call it a day. Because we're not gonna keep this code. What are you unhappy about? Oh, you need to be partial. I get it. Hold up. I get it. I see it. I'm working here. Let's see. It doesn't contain from observable object. Oh. This is getting obnoxious. Okay. We're going to do this then. Don't need it observable. We aren't changing it. Make it a property. There. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay. All of this just to make it work. There we are. So value 42. Parameter 42. And then is the inequality value collapsed and visible? Okay. So it does work properly with init. Okay. Okay. That is fine. I think we're going to whack that though. I don't think we want it. I think I want to keep it a little cleaner. There's nothing stopping somebody else from putting their own bit on there. Okay, so let's go here. Let's go demo app. I don't think I want any of these changes. Yeah, that was all just demo. Theory, it might be nice to write some tests over this. We have some tests? No, we have no tests yet. Is it worth testing? I don't know if it is. I don't know that it is. It's somewhat one of those, like, we could add tests, but it's so simplistic. Probably more trouble than it's worth. Okay, get my big head out of the way. GitKraken generate me a commit message, make it sound good, make it sound professional, or at least make it sound like me. I don't care which. Today's Mountain Dew is brought to us by Cream Soda Mountain Dew, which is quite good, might I add. Very cream soda-y, not as much Mountain Dew, a lot of cream soda flavor in it. So if you like cream sodas, worthwhile. Which I will, for people who are concerned, when I was in Taiwan, it was near impossible to find Mountain Dew, but I did locate some. I had to go to an export-import store to find it, but darn it, I found it. So that was exciting. Okay, so we will go here. We will approve workflows to run. We will enable auto merge, confirm auto merge, and we will submit review, approve, submit. Done. Done, 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 done. Okay. Next up, we'll let that guy will go chug for a little bit. Okay. Add dependency property, match size width. Oh, match size width. Okay, got it. Sorry, I was reading a D in that and I was very confused. Okay, so that is, look at the pack icon. So this guy here, match size width. What is the point of this pack icon? So let's see, clear old bindings. Interesting. So it takes in a framework element and then sets up appropriate bindings against the height and width properties. Ooh. This is an interesting one. The reason I say this is an interesting one is because these two lines here will not play nice if somebody so if somebody sets this up and points it at another framework element, and then they also set up a binding on height and width, those are going to get overridden. Let's look at the tests, right? So element name. So yeah, so it sets it up here. Match size width. Because what it's doing is it's saving you the effort of doing two separate bindings to the height and the width. Because you could do this already. You would just have to make this height and then bind to the element name and then bind this to the actual height. What is... Because it's binding both of them to the actual height. Boy, I'm torn on this. Gives me a bit of pause on here. So typography, view model, selected pack icon. We can check this out. I am, great work tree from pull request. I'm interested to look at the issue in question. Open a new tab. I am loving this open a new tab, by the way. This is nice. This is nice. It's bigger. That's a new dependency property, so the icon be linked to another framework to automatically adapt its height. It's useful to automatically size the icon, which belongs to some text. There are some trade-offs to be made, which I don't think we can fully eliminate. Uh-oh, did I say this? Icons height and width are bound to the reference framework's elements to keep it rectangular. Example usage is maybe not being rendered properly by GitKraken. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm tempted. The only thing that's bothering me here. Let's see, what do we got here? Yeah. I'm wondering if I'm just flipping out on the name. Because I'm wondering if match size width is just confusing enough. I'm wondering if it make so, because the other thing that slightly bothers me is not all of the pack icons are perfectly square. So there's been bugs reported over the years where people will point out that certain icons, because of their path data, are not perfectly square. And so sometimes you actually end up tweaking an icon to not make it a square resolution because you're trying to get the path data to look square-ish. Now, with that said, the vast majority of them would play nicely with this. I'm just trying to think if maybe there's a better name for this. Match size width. Because I feel like I want it to be. Let's do this. Hey, Copilot. Um, come on, load. Go do the things. We need to have a discussion real quick. We need to think. There is a new DP for the pack icon called match size width. That's what it was, right? Yeah. Its implementation actually matches icon to the height of the target element. Suggest alternate names for the DP. We'll let it think about its life for a moment. While it's doing that, the add split button, create work tree. We're just gonna keep spinning work trees. I see no reason to slow down. Because I can just keep spinning these suckers. Okay. I guess I didn't need to spin the work tree immediately. I could have like opened the PR first. Let's see. So this is here. So for people who can't see it very well, it's the fact that our hover effect isn't being appropriately clipped by the corner radius. So we're going to put this in the next milestone because this looks like an easy fix. Evaluation is not required. It is a legit bug. I'm going to assume there's going to be a clip. Well, the button assist corner radius is just being forwarded down. Great. Submit, approve, send it. This we did not need the work tree for. Let's see. Put this in the milestone. And then squash merge, send it. Full send. Okay, so actually now this is going to be a good lesson here on cleaning up work trees. So I believe, because this is fix 4043, I believe all I have to do is get myself out of here. And then on any of the other work trees, or the kind of like how you can't delete a branch if you're on it, remove this work tree. And then the only thing that bothers me is it doesn't clean up the branch to go with it. Now, as you can see, I've got a lot of branches that I haven't cleaned up anyway. So, let's see. Size to height of. Okay, match height of. The only thing that I don't like is size 2 doesn't convey to me square. That's the only thing, like, I kind of like it, but I'm wondering scale to height of. I don't like sync size width. The sync feels wrong. Because here's the other thing that's not occurring here is it's not handling if there is a size change of that element. Well, no, it is because it's bound to the actual height, so it would handle that. Size to height of? Scale to height of? I'm wondering if it makes more sense to do scale to height of. Oh, let's throw something. Let's throw something on there. I don't see. Oh, that's a deletion. Okay, so that's fine. That's a deletion. Typography. Large diffs are not rendered by default. What was done here? Both of those are the demo app. We can go check it here in a minute. Don't care. That was just a rename. That's fine. Typography view model. That's fine. Let's see, and this is just the dependency property with the bindings. I don't think there's a bug here. I don't think, like, there is a potential, like, argument reference thing. But, I mean, there's good tests here to make sure that it works. Like, and I like that this was done as the font size, not the actual size here. And then actually is validated against the behavior. Like, this is a nice way to write this test. I like that. Yeah, I think I'm just being hung up on the name. I think that's all it is. So maybe I'll just throw some feedback on the PR and see. I like the change, but a different name for the DP. Thoughts on, I think, scale to size of. We'll do that, and I will put an approval on here because I'm not opposed to it. It is, but it does give me a bit of pause. It does give me a tiny bit of pause. Actually, you know what? I was going to do something else kind of crazy. I'm going to take that out of the milestone for a moment. Clear milestone. Izzy, welcome. Merry Christmas. Good morning. I am back and I am here. Because you weren't around here before, in case you missed it, I do have a YouTube playlist of a bunch of interviews that I've been doing with various people. And I'm very excited. The one coming out next week is going to be awesome. I don't know how long I can keep this weekly cadence up, but I've got several. So we're gonna just keep a rocking and a rolling with it as long as I can. And then, we'll see how long till people get sick of me. JC, good morning to you as well. Okay, I briefly looked at this one before of needing to use this binding proxy to dodge around the temporary binding issues. It feels ugly, but we've done this pattern before. I was just going to check it. The only thing I was going to do is seal this thing in place. That was it. So let me grab this guy. Thank you, Copilot. I think what we're going to do is I'm just going to abuse this branch. I'm not going to use it for what I was intending to use it for. Let's see, close this. Okay, it goes here. And then I'm going to check out this one. Check out. So I'm on a work tree that no longer matches the branch name. So this is like when you make your remote branch not match your local branch. It's a great way to shoot yourself in the foot. Okay, so let's go here. And then binding proxy, wasn't it? Yeah. I think the only thing I want to do is seal this guy. Because I don't want people abusing this. I'd love to make it internal. I wonder if it should be in the internal namespace. Maybe it should be in the internal namespace. Might not be that bad of an idea. Okay, let's move it. It's one of those, it looks yucky to me. It feels yucky to me, but I understand the necessity of it. And so we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so we're going to go here. Yep, you're going to be unhappy for a minute. Hang on, we'll fix you. And then, oh, no, I need to keep that one. Get rid of that one. And then we will do kernel. I'm just going to copy that line because I'm going to need it here in a minute. See, and that goes like that just for sanity's sake. And then we come down here and we go internal, just to hide it away. Okay, and then where are the other ones? Here we go. Up here, up to the top. Come on, go, 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 go. Ah. Oh, we already. Oh, that's converters internal. That's different. Okay. So we have. So pro tip, in case people aren't realizing what I'm looking at and how I'm scrolling, I'm looking at these two little blue boxes. These indicate where the squiggles are. Works in C# too, in case people aren't familiar with that. Let's see. And then onto the next one. I'm not actually that fast of scrolling. I just know where to look. Okay, so internal. There we go. There. Great. Let's see here. There. It only didn't pick it up as a move because I changed the namespace so the contents aren't the same. That looks fine. 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 Great. Send it. Getting in a row. We're cruising. I'm not used to this. Feels good to be committing code, moving fast, breaking things. Well, not completely breaking things. We got good tests. Let's see. Enable auto merge. Enable auto merge. And then we're going to go approve. Look good. Send it. And then let that guy merge. Okay. And then what do we got here? Minute selection group. The clock control. Oh, actually, I just want to check one thing. Make sure. Yeah, I did put that in the milestone. Good. Okay. Dependency property, minute selection group to the clock control. The granularity of selectable minutes. Oh, interesting. Okay. I feel like this has been asked for a handful of times. It's a regression test to ensure the default value behavior doesn't unintentionally change. Feel free to remove if you think it's unnecessary. No. I don't. I actually kind of like when people put in these tests to make sure that we don't regress on behavior. And then taken from Mudblazer as inspiration. So for people unfamiliar, like Google puts out their material design spec, but even though it's a specification, there is oftentimes a lot of stuff that is left up to the material design implementers to figure out. So it's not completely uncommon to have different material design libraries doing it. See, have you thought about letting Copilot loose on profiling XAML tests? No, but we should. I don't see any reason not to. Let's see here. So we'll go here. And then I assume you're talking about profiling it with the performance copilot inside of VS proper. But let's see. Yeah, if we're gonna do it, let's do a smarter model. Okay. Though honestly, I will say, the codex models, in my opinion, have been doing real good for me. Doing real good. I like a lot of my team loves the Opus models, but I have been like they have been killing it for me. Oh, is there a shortcut inside the right click on the test and profile? Let's see. I did not know there was a right click menu for it. Hello, clean, modern. Right click on the test project? Am I missing something? Blind or stupid? Or both? They aren't mutually exclusive. Oh, choose a test. Got it. Yeah. So you come in here. So I would probably do visual element tests because these are the most common ones or tests. Oh, is it actually? I think it's plugged into the test. I'm trying to remember. This is one of the best and worst things about it is they've plugged it in so many places in here. Yes, I believe this one, because this will profile it. And actually, I think we can just run this profile and let it go, and then see what it comes back with. I will say this is often a very good way of doing it. Um, the one thing I will tell people, don't don't often panic about performance unless you're confident you've got everything else right. Let's see here. Um, I'm less concerned with my async and await usage. Either CPU or counters is probably the more interesting ones, I think. I think those are probably the more, well, we can throw async in there too. Why not? Try profiler agent. So it was grayed out in Test Explorer. Yeah, I think the grayed out in Test Explorer is because it wants to be it wants a run, allowing the session. Go to town. A project with class library cannot be started. Don't start the thing. Uh, let's see. I've been running Copilot in YOLO mode. Had to write some agent directives so it doesn't overstep its boundaries. Shame the permissions you can give it are not really detailed enough. My prime directive is don't delete anything. Instead, move it to a recycle bin. Because it started modifying and then deleting things. Yeah, I will say, so one of the things that I was actually teaching people in the training session that I did the last couple of weeks is running inside of a container. Now, obviously, this doesn't work for like WPF style development because, container WPF. But for a lot of situations, I have often just, if you take away its ability to like get push or otherwise, you can YOLO in a container and it's fairly safe. Like it's not going to harm your machine and or otherwise. So typical setup, get your container host with Docker or Podman, and then the VS Code container setup to be able to link into it and then turn it loose, and then you can YOLO all day long. Again, because at that point, the amount of damage it's going to do is like, if it deletes something, it's in a container. How can you do that? Let me see. I don't have this computer set up for it, but I do. If only somebody had an example repository that he was lecturing from a couple weeks ago. Let me see if I can find it. I'm just using VS Code and Copilot CLI. Well, allow me to see if I can find this real quick. Hi. So this is a. I will drop this repo in here, but let me see if I can find it where. I don't know what this profiler session is. The fact that it's still sitting in starting session is concerning me. But there is that, but that is based upon a. See if I can grab that over here. Let me grab my presentation prep. Because I think I have. I think I have the original that it is from. Where is Anders? Where is it? This one. So, nope, that is a fork as well. There's the source template repository. Okay, so that is heavily based upon this repository, which is coming out of the. So, for anybody who wants to have some fun, like feel free to leverage these, knock yourself out, go to town. right? These are built around, these are sample repositories for teaching Copilot stuff. The Octo demo hopefully is a strong indication that this is something that some of the Copilot trainer people leverage, right? So it's not like, so there is, I will warn you, there is intentionally bad code in this repository. There is intentionally a security vulnerability in this repository. It is there to do demonstrations with. So don't take it as an example of good, but it is a good potential learning repository to work from as well. Oh shoot, while I'm in here showing stuff, I might as well, let me share some other stuff. Got a couple things in here that I can share out. Where is where were my labs? Where were my labs? Lab, 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 lab. There is, I don't have my labs here. I only have my prep. Where did I put the links to my labs? They got moved internal. That's what happened. That's why I dropped the links. Okay, I'll have to go hunt down the public links for the labs, but there are public ones as well. But if I take my repository that I had here and I clone it, the day in the life will potentially have it. DevToil will have it. Why can I not find my, hang on. For some reason, the stuff that I thought I had is not in the place where I thought I had it. So there's that. So clone repository. We do this, we do this, we do this. We open it in code. So I'm going to see if I can remember how to do this by memory, because I only do this a little bit. So I am going to make sure I have my Docker host up and running, which I do. Great. Okay, so step one is dev containers. So this is a way of setting up and launching inside of a container. So you saw that prompt down there at the bottom of being able to launch this into a dev container. So let's see. Grab the docs. So this doc here from VS Code will get you started with dev containers and launching. And then if we go up here, or let's see. Let's see, where is the start dev container? I wanted to click the button. Dev containers. Open folder in container. Let's do open workspace in container. Nope. No, where's my dev containers launch into dev container? Go container logs. You asked me to do this willy-nilly, and that creates a new config. I just want to use my existing one. Down here, wasn't it? No. Where is my... There. Let's see. New dev container. I think that launches into it. Nope, that is creating a new one. Where is the... I will find it. I will find it. I am not as dumb as I look. Where is the relaunch into container? We just relaunch ourselves into the container that way? There we go. Launch. So what ends up happening here, just to clarify, is it's actually going to go through, leverage the config from our dev container YAML, and actually spin up a running container attach and do the volume mount stuff for us so that we workspace folder. Oh, see that's this is why I had problems. Is this config is off a little bit, and I am trying to remember what I had to do to fix it. And that is the hiccup for me. Is there was an issue with this config that wasn't updated properly. So I might need to find a better example for you, Izzy. But short version with dev containers, once you have the dev container JSON defined in here and set up, like they've done extra work with Docker Compose and all this extra stuff. If you want, you don't necessarily have to. Most of the stuff is a little simpler than that. But you can then spin up a container. It mounts it inside and uses VS Code Remote. So you're interacting with the files inside that container. Your terminal's inside that container. And so if you have the Copilot CLI inside the container, now all of your actions are isolated inside that container. Unless you've mounted a volume or something externally that you're giving it access to, it doesn't have access to anything outside. Right now, git push is still a possibility, but oftentimes I mitigate that by just having my repository not allow like pushes to main, right? Force PRs or branches or otherwise, right? Like if the agent can't push to it, what the worst it can do is push a side branch. Have at it. Like, so I might have to pull more information and get a better setup for you, Izzy. But I can certainly look at doing that. I do want to check on this guy here. Of this guy. Could disable internet connection. Yeah, like you could lock it down as much as you want, right? If you want to not start a diagnosis when try profiling an existing unit test instead. Oh, okay. That might work out just as well. I think it was because it tried to launch the wrong project because I had the wrong startup project when it first launched. I'm actually somewhat impressed that it seems to be using the visual element test because those are the more critical tests. Oh, it automatically hates remote WPF processes. Interesting. Yeah, no, there's a lot of cases for it, Izzy, where it once you get your agent in a nice like sandboxed environment, like you can. My opinion is you can start to turn on YOLO mode or auto approve lists that are much more generous when you've got extra stuff around the outside protecting you. Right? Like I'm less concerned about my agent mucking up a repository if I've actually set up like my branch protection rules and all of this stuff to make sure that it can't hose me. Right? So those types of things are always nice to have built in. Okay, so what did it find? What did it find? Let's see. Regex objects. Get next query type creates a new regex object. That is true. Regex compilation is expensive. They should be static read only or use generated regex. Okay, that is a fair critique. Let's see. Link first or default in serializer. Iterates through the serializer linked to creating delegate allocations. Yeah, but this list, I don't know that I care. This is kind of expected. Let's see. Visual tree traversal. Enumerates all children with nested iterators. You'll return, causing extra allocations per frame. Again, yes. I don't know. I don't know that I care about that. Let's see. Get properties is called every time a property is accessed without caching. Okay, that is fair. Caching on that could be a nice a nice addition. And we could actually cache based on type. Type get repeated resolution. By string is repeated without caching. Okay. I could certainly see caching in that case as well being helpful. And honestly, in some cases, I've actually contemplated. I don't know if Robert's still hanging out in the thing. He demonstrated some stuff to me on a project he was working on that got me thinking of previously the cost of building Roslyn analyzers and source generators was kind of high. But Copilot is fairly good at cranking them out. And if you can make those things purpose built for your project and the cost of building them is not high, they become a lot more appealing. So for example, the type get type, I do wonder if rather than just caching the return from it, if in a lot of cases I could build this at compile time, because it's not like the members of the BCL types or the members of presentation core are going to change at runtime. That's just not a thing. Let me rephrase. It's definitely not a thing in any of my libraries, and so it's not a thing in any library I care about. So I could certainly see building up a dictionary lookup or similar with a source generator, and then caching the return. So that way, the type get type only is for custom types, not any of the built-in types. And most of the time, this is going to be built-in types. You're going after button, text box, that kind of thing. So I could certainly, I've started to think that maybe in some of these cases, I could source gen my way out of needing to do any sort of reflection, because I wanted dynamic-y stuff. We could go through and do this. String allocation and logging. Allocate strings even when the logging may not be needed. The delegate check is present, but interpolation happens before the call. Yeah. So this is another fair critique. So even though we have this guy here, the string interpolation occurs before. So that is very fair. Let's see. Recommended measures. High impact. Make regex patterns. Place links to avoid closure allocations on every. Okay. So let's see. We'll switch this to the agent. Go ahead and make the changes for the high impact ones. Yeah. See, I wish Copilot could do multi-layered agents, that is, and that the local llama was a bit faster. Tried the old llama thing and got bored after the first attempt. Was getting 2 words a minute in the response. Thinking I have something configured wrong. It's that 2 words a minute is definitely slower than I see. But local models generally are lower. Like, there's not as far as I'm aware, a colleague of mine, we were actually discussing this earlier today of, do we think that local models will ever be at a speed that is viable? And I think there will be a point where, have a good day at work, JC. I think there will be a point where we see tooling that is willing to leverage smaller local models as kind of a pre-cache work to save on tokens going to the bigger expensive models. But I don't know that I see it improving fast enough to get down to the level of hardware of, I'll put a quote unquote developer level machines, right? Because you've got developers tend to run beefier machines, or gamers have beefier machines. There's obviously the developers, and there's a few of you in this chat that I'm aware of that have insane setups that make me jealous. Some of you might be able to run a medium size model or better in your local environment because you people are awesome and have incredible hardware. So I'll give you that. But for your average developer machine that's like a 64 gig machine, halfway decent GPU, maybe like an i9 sitting in there, like it's not a lower end machine, but it's better than what your average PC is going to be. Even those are still like low models are kind of pushing your limits, but I could absolutely see using like cheap, smaller models and have like that agentic tooling be a little bit smarter about handing off simpler work to those cheap local models rather than always pushing everything up. Because I do suspect what we're going to see, especially with like for people who haven't seen the change that Copilot is making to the billing plans, um, it like I suspect what we're going to quickly see with some of these pricing changes is less a race for bigger and bigger models and more a race for more and more efficiency. Of people are going to want to see how much can I do with the tokens that I have, right? I don't want to just fork out $200 more in tokens unless I'm getting $200 worth of value out of it, right? There's gonna be a push for efficiency, is what I expect. So, okay, so it pulled those two out, converted those over, converted that over. That looks good to me. And then the serializer drop through here. Void's creating the lambdas and just does the for loop. This is probably a micro optimization. I suspect if we were to benchmark this, because I know the serializers collection is never going to be more than like 6 or 8, I suspect the performance gains are minimal. The other thing with XAML test is um the biggest cost thing is the starting of the WPF process. Like that's the biggest slowest part of all the tests. Because I did run like even before AI, I did run profilers on it, and the process.start is like 85-90% of all the work. So it's like, yeah. It is bothering me that this chevron is up here and not centered. Bothering me. $20. Somebody forgot to fix their vertical alignment. That was cool. So let's go here. Pilot. I'm gonna be real lazy. No. Well, no, we won't be too lazy. We'll just do this. We'll do it the old-fashioned way. Perf improvements. There, stage. For anybody who hasn't seen my interview with Steve from the Uno platform, it was kind of cool hearing him say that they actually leverage some of the libraries that I've built for the material design project in Uno. Like even though I built them for WPF, they have ported them over to the Uno platform to leverage them in their own stuff because they like the design of what was in there. So it was cool to hear. Like I wasn't looking necessarily to have credit, but apparently my name exists in comments in their code base. So I was like, yay! Okay, so we did that. We did that. Oh yeah, the minute picker. That's where we were. The minute picker. Okay, so that all looks fine to me. Let's see. Picker's view model was deleted. I'm surprised the picker's view model was deleted. Is there just nothing in it? Date time, validating date time, future validating date time. I'm surprised that we were able to get rid of it because I would have thought that it was being used. Like, for example, that. Oh, I bet you. Oh, that's what happened. Okay, so never mind. It wasn't deleted. It was moved. But because it was. Okay, got it. It was moved, but it was changed. Okay. Okay. I was like, boy, I could have sworn we were using it. There we go. Available minute selection steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12. Okay. That looks good to me. That seems fine. So let's see. Let's just go back to the top here real quick. Come on. Up to the top. Up to the top. Go. Let's collapse that down. Let's see, what do we got? Okay. Just cleaned up the styling. This looks like XAML styler cleanup. Great, great, great. This was not formatted well, so now it is. Love it, love it, love it. Love it. I am going to really quick just turn off white space changes because I don't want to look at them. I do not care. I know Corvin's formats things nicely, so there's no point in me reviewing his white space changes. Let's see. Large diffs are not rendered by default. Okay, so that just reordered. That. Okay. There we go. That's fine. That's fine. I'm just looking at these. A lot of these are just formatting. It's actually funny because this sort of formatting difference is actually, I didn't think it was controversial, but I've actually now run into multiple people recently who very much favor the space separation for things like margin, padding, etc. I'm a comma guy. I like my commas. But I've found multiple, like, some people don't even realize that you can space delimit. And the only reason I can say that I like commas over spaces is because I feel like the developer mind is instinctively willing to collapse spaces. I realize that's not true, but like in my mind, I am willing to collapse spaces. And even though there's the exact same number of characters here, I like seeing the commas. It's just me. Like I think, my opinion, commas are the right way. But again, I've now met multiple people that very much disagree with me. Okay, so that goes there. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Looks good. Okay, this one was deleted because it was actually moved. Let's see, is enabled moved down. It looks like it's the same binding. Foreground looks to be the exact same binding. It's just been reformatted. That's fine. Enabled moved down. Foreground white changed. The closing tab. Enabled in style got reordered. New group box. The granularity of selected items. Great, that looks fine. I think I just want to check the pickers in both the demos. Let's see, this switched it down to the shared. This is the new view model without anything fancy to it. Great. And then here is the actual meat and potatoes. Minute selection step. Okay. Minute selection change callback. So let's see, we cast in, grab the value, hard cast there. Those should both be pretty safe. Let's see if step is less than 1 or step is greater than 60 or 60 mod step not equal to 0. Argument out of range. Between 1 and 60. I wonder, is the answer, because you can do 2, right? I think is what they, because this show code, because what is this one on the left do? Min step value 1. That's 5. This is 1. And then this is 15. The only thing that I am, and I don't think it's a problem. I think I actually like what Corvin's did better, is on his preview, I think he actually grayed out the ones that you couldn't select and disabled them, which I think I actually like better than this behavior here, where you, like, I just can't land on 50 or 55. Like, I think I actually like having 50 and 55 slightly grayed out. Let's see, generate buttons, minutes canvas, button style, lesser button style, which is effectively the exact same thing that was there. And then all the change was is adding the minute step down there. Is enabled selector. Okay, so this is actually the change that grays them out, is this guy here. Let's see, if enabled selector. Oh, and that's how he's enforcing what can be clicked is by changing what is enabled or not. I'm surprised we have to set button opacity here. I would have thought that the opacity would be controlled by the button style, not directly in code. So we may double check that. That change gives me a little bit of pause. Let's see, and then doing the rounding. Oh man, I forgot. I'm gonna trust this math and test it, but I vaguely recall this. My trigonometry is not great. Let's see, display mode minutes does the same thing, a minute selection step, and then a great set of tests. Assert throws, assert that. Okay, it's fine. I don't mind asserting on an exception message, though oftentimes I find that as long as we assert on enough of the exceptions so that we know specifically which one it was, the exact details of the text don't bother me too much. But that's fine. So I think all I want to check is this. I think for the most part, this looks good. It's just that little bit that gives me pause. So let's do here, create work tree from pull request. I'm going to have so much. I've started to realize I consume a lot more hard drive space with work trees. Because it's like, wee, new copy, new copy, new copy. Like it's great. But I will say it is nice to be able to pop back and forth between Visual Studio instances and not have things break, right? Like, because Visual Studio freaks out when you change branches and all the files change out from under it. It goes, panic mode, panic mode. It's like, nah, relax, you're fine. You're fine. Okay, so step one, let's start with the demo app. And let's just go look at the pickers. And we'll see it work firsthand first. Like I said, I think that style with the opacity is the only thing that's drawing my eye of it looks like it might be a little off. I am somewhat now. We are inside the clock control, and so direct manipulation of the children does kind of make sense. Let's see, that's under pickers, I believe. And then let's see here. Clock vertical styles. Where is the my blind? Where was the change here? So if I go here, I'm looking for what? Um, where is the? Where's the one that I actually care about? That's not a change. That's not a change. That's not a change. Where's the new one? That's white space, commas. That's not new. That's reordering. That's reordering. Where are you? Where are you? There we go. You can change the granularity of the select. Yeah, that's what I expected to see. You can change the granularity of selected minutes, blah, 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 blah. So it should be. Oh, there it is. I went right past it. Okay, so this is on 15 minutes. Right, so this is the hours picker. And then we go here. Okay, works as expected. If I dial this down to 5, I can only do. Okay, that seems fine. If I go down to 2, there we go. Okay, that seems fine. And this does all the minutes. Okay, so that appears to work as one would expect. Let's check it in the Material Design 3 demo. Actually, let's go and do the clock change real quick because I don't think we need that. What? Why are you not? I don't know that we need this. For something in the back of my head is telling me I do not need this. Let's check this and see. If it doesn't disable the button, we may poke around briefly because it feels like we should be able to control that with a style and set the opacity so that when is enabled as false, the opacity goes down to the 38%. Like that feels like the better solution, right? Let's go here. So it did not disable the buttons. So if I look at here, let's see here. So not under tools. Need to be under themes. And then I need to go to clock. Let's see. And I think it's clock button. Let's say. We might even be able to. Trying to find where the button is for this. Clock item button. This guy here. So I'm somewhat tempted to do trigger property is enabled, value false, then setter property, let's see, opacity value 0.38. I'm much more inclined to do this, I think. Then I don't know if it's going to actually pick this up nicely, but as I toggle between these, okay. Did not work the way I expected. But it could be because this is being set in as a button style. It didn't hot reload properly. So we're gonna just test it if it was a hot reload problem first. That's the path of least resistance. And then we go here. There, yeah. So I think I like that better. Is let's let the code behind set it, but let the opacity be something that is controlled by the style. I think that is nicer in my opinion. Oh, okay. While we are here, it wants this to be a list. It's private. I'm okay with that. I like to briefly, whenever I'm in a file and I see these gray things, I like to just briefly scan and see what they are, because if we're in here making a change, we might as well clean up some of these if they are reasonable. Let's see. We can do this. Fix all occurrences in document. Yep, go ahead. Just use the new collection expression. That cleans up some of them. This is unhappy that it doesn't have the curly braces on all of them. Go back and forth on that. Place the argument with one of the method's parameter names. Yeah, I'm not sold on that change. I like the way it was done originally. Because I get why there's an analyzer that checks for argument, for people who may not have seen it. So the argument here with this CA 2208 is it's unhappy that the name of argument being passed into this argument exception doesn't match a parameter name, right? The problem is this is in a callback, and this is in a callback for this property. So the way this method is going to be invoked is by somebody setting this property. And so this is, in my opinion, actually an okay way of doing this. So we're gonna keep it. I think that's better. Okay, so I think I'm happy to take this. Just check what we got here. So we did the opacity change. Just want to make sure I got that right. Let's see. 2 list calls cleaned up. List call there, and then we got rid of the 38 there, put it up there. Great, great, great. That looks fine. That looks fine. Let's see. Oh dear. My Copilot seems to be unable to order my tables properly. Also refusing to rename a component reference from T2000 to T1. Skynet is coming. Yeah. Yeah. So, fun story. Today is April 30th, which is the end of the month when token allocations reset. But just before the end of the month, during the workday today, there was my Works Copilot subscription. We hit our budget limit. And so for the last couple hours, people were, I know, having, and hear me out, they had to write code by hand. Difficult. I got lazy and figured, I'll just wait. I'll wait. I had enough other stuff to do. Because it's like, I could go type this, or I could wait for a couple hours and then when everything rolls over, because it rolls over at midnight UTC, so that made it interesting. And I think what I'm going to do here is I want to put this in the release notes. This is a release notey thing. This is something people should know exists. Okay, that goes there. That goes there. That looks good to me. Submit review approved. Submit. Enable auto merge. Enable auto merge. Send it. Okay, that clears that out. Did everything merge? This one's okay. Like I said, I think I'm just hung up on the name. Okay, I want this guy to merge, and then we're going to do something exciting. I'm going to send a release. I always talk about getting in the habit of quicker releases and all of that stuff, but darn it, I'm going to actually do it. Don't think I trust it to write actual code. I'm getting it to create a proof of concept code, and then I manually copy the bits that I need. I will say, so it depends on what I am building, because I absolutely let it build and YOLO stuff out. I've got a little app that I'm building for my board gaming group, and so bear in mind the blast radius of failure is my board gaming group. I have no sensitive data. It's just for me and some buddies playing board games. So it's like, whatever, YOLO. And I will absolutely give it a task, merge the PR, not look at the code, let it ship, because the impact is to me and my buddies, and it's not like it's got access to sensitive data or anything. It's got access to like board game information for my games. What's the worst it's going to do? Torch everything? I accept. So depending on the tolerance for failure, I think is also directly correlated to how much you can auto it, right? I do still firmly believe that, like again, the same way that my AI rules, again, or I should say my AI, not rules, guidelines, right? So these ones here. Guideline number 2, you need to be better than the AI, right? You have to know when it's lying to you. And I still believe that when you have something, and I maybe I should put this in here as kind of more of a premise and a thing that's not implied, but it's not captured here. But the idea of like vibe coding can be fine when the risk factor is low. Like if the blast radius doesn't matter and you're willing to accept the potential risk of like prod going down, then YOLO it. Like if prod going down isn't a big deal, you can YOLO all day long, right? Like that's fine. But for most people, prod going down is a major problem, and you can't YOLO. Like there is balance there, right? Um, and so I think what I'm really hoping happens is there ends up being a lot more tooling and governance and things put around it, because the AI can generate way more code way faster than I can. It can absolutely like it types. I'm not a good typer to begin with, but it types faster than me. And so if I can leverage it to type out a bunch of stuff and get me further down a road, great. It will get me there. But I on stuff that matters, I usually tell people I assume it's going to get me like an 80 or 90% solution, and I need to go over all of it to make sure that it's good and right. And I don't think we are anywhere close to being able to get away from that. People keep saying, "Oh, it's going to replace developers." I'm like, no, specifically because even if it only made one error in 100, those errors start to combine, and that becomes a problem. It's no longer 99% right. A couple points in, it starts to become failure points. So, end soapbox. But yeah, so that's the kicker. Is I still think that there is real engineering that has to happen, and I am still very terrified that there will start to be a bigger gap between people who have access to lots of tokens and people who don't. And a lot of the open source projects that people depend on who may not have, like, open source projects historically have not been well funded. And if they aren't well funded and tokens cost money, there starts to be a gap there where some people can move faster than others. And those open source libraries where you're like, yeah, why doesn't my open source library just quickly update to support, the latest .NET or whatever, right? Which is something that typically an agent would be probably pretty good at migrating to, or adding support for, T-Unit or otherwise, right? Like those are things that agents tend to do really well when it's high pattern recognition and all that stuff. It's like, yeah, it would be great if that would happen. I just don't see it going. Okay, well that's chugging for a moment. I want to go through and check on the um, build versions. I think I should be fine because there's nightly release, and this guy's going to go here. Get version number check. So it's going to make sure that the version matches the milestone. Let's go briefly check the milestone. What's in here? I'm going to just start punting things out of this milestone. Um, I'm really torn on this one. I'm really torn on this. Um, Actually, you know what? This might be. Um, for this, it seems specifically due to the card's performance is far worse after the change. Um, was this fixed already? Let's briefly look at this one. Let's see. Their performance is far worse after this change. We've added the following to our style that targets tier window to allow attached properties, inheritance to trickle down. Cache mode. Seems to, except for the cards, which continue to perform poorly after this commit for some reason. And in this, cards then returns their performance for pre-commit hooks. So let's take a look at this one. Yeah, migrate my old code to the new code, apply all sharper suggestions, and yeah, you're off to the races. Okay. So this guy here. So Shadow Assist cache mode is what this was changed to inherit down onto the toolbar. And this changes it null by default. I'm hesitant to blindly remove it. Because this was one contains a cache mode. To quote, setting the cache mode property when you need to increase performance. As to not use any form of caching, this makes the controls sharp and crisp. Yes. But also makes it pixelated when drawn smaller. Yes. Why I'm wondering if horn here, because this is specifically the shadow assist caching. Let's go look at the shadow assist cache mode. Where is that used? Let's just hunt it down because I'm wondering if there's the flyout one, the built-in ones. An adorner decorator that's using the shadow assist cache mode. I'm wondering if this is something that be a lot slower and laggy than it was before when it comes to animations such as those in the dialogue. After resizing the window on or in full screen and snap devices. Just setting the window and main control does not work. Yeah, because I know the rendering issue of it not being crisp was absolutely an issue, and I don't know. Pull these docs open. Pull these docs open and look because it's now one of these problems where we either put the caching in, but I'm hesitant to put it in at the static property level because that is fairly. But like I can understand the poster's problem of without me doing something, their life becomes miserable. The bitmap cache. Create a bitmap cache and assign it a cache mode property to cache the element. Its subtree as a bitmap in video memory. This is useful when you need to animate, translate, or scale. Yeah. This approach enables a trade-off between performance, and that is where the issue is. Like, what do we care about? Visual quality or performance? And I'm wondering if I can do something. I'm wondering if we should do something in to allow it to be set at a more high level. Do we see the same behavior problem Like, I do wonder if I do, because it was specifically called out in the dialogues. I'm curious. And maybe my machine, like everything here seems smooth, but maybe that's because I have a machine that is doing well and it feels how to handle this. I'm wondering if one option here is we could go in. I don't know if I like this. So, thinking out loud here, right? So, I could do something like public static, let's see, cache mode, uh, default cache mode, right? So we can do I could do something like this. And allow it to be changed. Is that a good idea? Let's see. Public static void foo. I'm just kind of wondering if I try to give hmm a good way of doing this. I don't like the grumble, 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 grumble. There's not a good. Um, I'm wondering if maybe I just document it because it's kind of one of those like we could leave something in here. Shadow assist, right? And then this guy comes in here. New. Because really what we want to do is this, right? Is we want to grab. And actually, did that commit change the inherits flag by any chance? I don't think it did. Don't think it did. No, because it was already inherits there. But this is here. Um we do that, we do that, we do that. Like if we do something of this nature, right? And then what that ends up meaning is then maybe we just document this. I don't like I'm trying to decide, do I care more about performance or rendering? I'm somewhat tempted to say performance. Like but the thing is if we go performance, it's more likely that people have problems. It's more likely that people have problems and don't have any idea how to fix it versus now they get performance problems and it's like, right? Because you then do something like got to assist, foo, poof, problem goes back, and we put the old one back, right? Because now if I relaunch the app, and now everything should get that same default cache mode, right? So we'll got my Snoop open. We'll double check this because if we go and look at the uh oh, it won't let me override the metadata of an attached property. Oh, that's so dumb. How do we do that on? Override metadata. Boy, that is so horrible. Let's see. Property type. Add owner. Is valid value. Grumble, 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 grumble. So what's the right way to handle this? We I don't like it. Don't like it. I don't like any of the options. 'Cause I'm like here, right? So where is it? Why am I blind? There. There's the cache mode for the adorner decorator. I'm wondering why we have the inherit true on this and then we bind this in directly. Um that feels weird to me. Oh, the reason we have the inherit is so that you can set it on the top level object and have it propagate down to all of the children. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. Um this is just literally the adorner decorator of where it's going to we change it back, it means that people who scale things, they will start to look blurry and not look good, which is a problem if you have like dynamic data and resizing and all of that jazz. The poster on this one clearly is then experiencing performance problems because we've turned that off. We now get the nice crisp rendering, but now the animations suck because the animations are trying to deal with this nice rendering and they don't have the caching. Is there a middle ground? Don't know that there is. Don't know that there. Yeah, I don't like this. Okay, we're gonna grumble, 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 grumble. I'm gonna punt this one forward because I want to consider it, but I don't know that it's. I don't know that there's a good solution that I can think of. Let's see. There. Accessibility issue. Trying to remember. Dialog host seems to lose focus when the window is minimized. It goes to the main window, even if the dialog is always opened. Open a dialog host which contains some controls. Use the tab button to navigate on the dialog host controls. Focus on dialog host. Minimize the app with the dialog host open. Maximize the app. Dialog host always open. Use the tab button again to get focus. Dialog host has not the focus. Close the dialog host and reopen. Use the tab button. The focus is on the dialog again. Something tells me we've already addressed this. There was an issue around moving the focus inside the dialog host, and so I kind of suspect this. Oh wait, I can't do that here. I need to throw away my local changes. Let's go here. Yes, I realize I'm out on a work tree just powwowing. Throw that away for a moment. Launch this. I'm gonna see if there's anything we can snipe, and then I think I'm just gonna kick the release. I think that's ultimately what I want to see is I want to get in the habit of being able to kick these releases much quicker. I know, Izzy, it's gonna pain you a little bit, but hopefully this gets easier. So dialogues, and then I'm just gonna I'll move this over here so I can walk the steps myself. So open a dialog host that contains some controls. Great. Use the tab button. And I'm gonna preemptively attach Snoop to this just so I can keep track of the keyboard focused element. I'm gonna go here. Oh, isn't there a topmost toggle here? I thought there was a topmost toggle. I'm just gonna shrink you down then. We're gonna go here, here, here. So open a dialog that contains controls. Correct. Use the tab button on the dialog host. The focus is on the dialog host and its controls. Yep, it is in the fruit text box. Minimize the app with the dialog host open. Okay. Where'd my window go? Let's see. Maximize the app. So I don't know if I go here. Do they actually mean maximize? Because I can see here that the focus seems to be lost already. Minimize the app, maximize the app. The dialog host is always opened. Use the tab button again to get the focus. Which button are we on here? We are on the plus button down on the right. You can't see it, it's right there. Okay. Use the tab button, the dialog host, no, it focuses on the main view. See, close the dialog host and reopen it. Use the tab buttons. The focus is on the dialog host again. Okay, so I agree. The issue is here, here, should be there. Okay, I vaguely recall this one. We've attacked this one so many times, but I think I know where it is this time. There is a store focus on store focus disabled. This should be not set. But we grab the window here. So I think we grab here. So we are here. Doesn't trigger. Okay. Where are you? Okay, so there's the restores there. I see restore down here. Restore focus element. But that is on close, not on anything else, right? So if I do this, let me just grab it here because I'm fairly confident that that triggers. This default to what is the default here? Disabled is false, so it is disabled. Wait, so we have store focus element. This is an attached property. I'm noticing the 0 references here gives me a bit of pause that this thing is potentially broken. Because I think where are we using this window? Find all references. Is it really just right there? Oh, there was like a window state changed. We were registering for it somewhere. Where is it? Where is it? No, no. Really? No, like we have to be watching for this because we hide the dialogue when the window is minimized. Um, okay, it's got to be in here somewhere. So, because here's the thing, these things are open in pop-ups, which are when I do this, there is a callback being registered somewhere that I don't see where it is. Um, oh, is it in pop-up EX? That might be where it is. That might be where it is. Um, one of these is watching for host window activated deact. There we go. This. Because we host window state changed. This guy here. So if we do this, boom, there it comes in. The holder null target grid. This is what is hiding it. This is the guy that is grabbing it. So when this comes in, what we want is when the host window is restored, should it be kicking back to the focus in the dialog? Because when this goes and changes the state, so for example here, I want to just see if we have it or if we've already lost it at this point. So I'm looking down here, right? So my root text box is what has keyboard focus element. Right, so when I go here and I go minimize, I'm actually curious what I'm curious what my keyboard focused element is. I think I need to grab it here. Keyboard. Because I think by the time we get to here, we've lost it because by the time the state change fires, it's already gone. Yeah, so that one's null. We're gonna let it cook for now. We're gonna hot reload that beast. Bring it back up. Set focus. Go here. 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 It's already nulled out. I think this may be where we got to before. Is it's difficult to grab because by the time we get notified that we're minimizing, we've already lost the focused element. But there has to be why do I feel like there's something else in here? This feels like this is not quite the whole story. Feels like it's not quite the whole story. Okay, regardless, this um, take this guy and just bump him over too. Let that go. Go back to the milestone. Oh, not that milestone. This milestone. We're going to go bing, bing, bing. And we are going to no milestone them. And this guy failed some checks. That's no bueno. You fail on. What did you fail on? I think if I go here, let's see. Oh, we actually failed on the. Oh, my change breaks the button opacity. Okay. Okay. That's fair. That's fair. Let's go back here. We can go fix this. So the issue here is this guy is making the sweeping assumption that it can get the button opacity immediately. I think I can do wait for. Isn't that my XAML test call is called wait? Oh, this isn't XAML test. This is oh. This doesn't work. Because this doesn't have rendering. This is okay. This doesn't actually have the rendering loop to it. I think we are going to whack the enabled bits out of here because to test this properly would require a XAML test. Because we need to this, and this is the exact reason why I wrote XAML test, is because it is very, very, very hard to unit test a WPF control. And actually it may only be the other one. No, I'm just looking at so the parameters here are all that are changing between these. Just verifying that those are the only ones. So I knew so the other test passed, but we should not be checking those. Okay, so we'll whack those for now. I don't want that change, but I do want the clock tests. I do want this. Go and push, and that'll send it. Okay, so that actually, I guess while we're in here, let's just run all these tests to make sure. Because these, like, testing a control this way is fine because it allows you to test the code behind level stuff, but it doesn't allow you to test anything else. It, like, anything that's like style or template related is not being tested because there's not that UI loop to actually, like, say, apply the style triggers. So because there's nothing pumping those events, it doesn't go through. Cutie, welcome in. Hopefully you had a good stream. We are having fun and getting ready to kick a release. And unfortunately, Mountain Dew #1 is dead. But the cream soda Mountain Dew is quite good. So for anybody who likes cream soda, it is excellent. Okay, while we wait to that to run, I made a comment earlier about I may have been spreading myself a little too thin and overworking myself. So what I have decided is to take on another project. But this project's kind of cute. Isn't she adorable? So there's a very high chance I'm getting a dog. So we have not adopted her yet, but our adoption application was accepted, and we are scheduled to go and meet her in a couple of weeks. So we're hopeful, assuming everything goes as planned. The place she's at, the people answered a bunch of questions for us. And everything they came back with was green lights for us, no red lights. So it was like, oh dang it, I don't like it when things are as advertised. So a pit hound and so let me get this right, and it's a terrier, um, sorry, plot hound and Airedale terrier are the is the mix. So she's about 8 months old, very cute. So we are somewhat excited. So I may be adopting because I didn't have enough projects. We're gonna add one more project to my list because clearly that's what I was missing. So yes, there may be more pictures to be shown later. Again, assuming everything goes well. If she is as advertised, it is um yeah, yes, very much like that sable coloring for the German shepherds, though a little bit more on the orangey side versus the kind of the tan color that I associate with the sable shepherds. So, for people who may be unaware, there's a local dog trainer in the area that I go and work with every so often, and she has been teaching me decoy work. I am the guy in the puffy suit that the German Shepherd tries to kill. Just so much fun. It's so much fun. Oh my word. Oh, I absolutely love it. So, you ever want scary German Shepherd pictures? I've got plenty of them with the scary bites of them coming at you, and it's rawr. Very fun. Very, very fun. Absolutely love it. Um, you're brave the first time, and then once you realize that you're actually very well, I should put it this way: the trainer I work with, she is very much about safety, and it is everyone is very safe while going through. She has very strict rules on how things go for that reason, and it's very difficult for anything to go wrong. And partly because the dogs that are going through this training are very expensive dogs. Like actual working dogs that are trained up well are tens of thousands of dollars. So it was made very clear to me I am more expendable than the dog. Very clear. Lesson one, don't hurt the dog in any way. Lesson two, here's how you take a bite. That was day one. So yeah, but I have so much fun doing it. My wife thought I was crazy, but like it was a bucket list item for me for a while because I know a handful of people who work for the police department here. And I told them, I'm like, hey, whenever you guys need some guy to be the guy in the puffy suit for the dog to practice on, let me know. And they're like, okay, but I think they usually use internal people for that. And I'm like, dang it. If I can sign a waiver and do it, let me know. And then I had a coworker tell me, oh, you want to do that? I'm training my German Shepherd to do that. I'm sure the trainer would love to have somebody else take a bite, so it's not her taking them all the time, because it does actually. It is a decent workout when you've got 100 pounds of fury launching itself at you, and you just have to trust the dog's not going to take your face, like because they'll do bites on like the upper bicep or they'll do it down on the legs or otherwise, and you just when it goes for the bicep, you just have to trust that the dog's not going to take you in the face, despite the fact that he's eyeing you. Why in the world is that on your bucket list? Because it's so much fun. Like, so one, I didn't realize how much fun it was going to be until I did it. But it was on my bucket list because it's like, you know what? So when I was younger, there was this Rottweiler that got loose, and I kind of got into a little scuffle with it in the front yard. And I was proud of myself because I actually put the dog to the ground, knee on the neck, grabbed it, wrestled it, hog tied the sucker, and took him back home. And I had always wondered, like, if the dog had really been trying, like, because like the dog was somebody's pet, it wasn't like this rabid wild dog. And I'm like, if the dog had been trying, would I have actually been able to take the dog down? It's like, I wonder how I would hold up to a dog that's actually trying to take me down. Turns out, if you're not wearing the puffy suit, the dog's probably going to win that fight very consistently. Very, very consistently. Especially some of the dogs that I've gone up against is they are There is one I watched him get hit in the face with a garbage can and then just absolutely level the guy. It was hilarious to watch because the dog was not expecting the garbage can, and then all of a sudden he got hit in the garbage can. The dog kind of woke up and went, "That wasn't very nice. Now I'm not playing nice anymore." Because the trainer's kind of her pride and joy dog. Um, he's a jerk. Like he knows where your kneecap is, and he intentionally bites the kneecap because he knows he'll get a reaction out of you. And once he gets a reaction, he memorizes that spot and he bites the same spot every single time. It's like you are a jerk. You are mean. And the thing is once they're off command, they're the most lovable, cute creatures ever. Once they're on command, do not mess with them. On command, terrifying. Off command, they'll come over, lick you, bring you their toy, and say, "Play, play." It's like, dude, you just tried to kill me a second ago. It's like, yeah, I know. Now can we play? I'm done now. It's like, oh, you little jerk. So, but it is so much fun. So much fun. I absolutely love it. So I don't think. Well, I'll put it this way. I don't think this dog will be one that does bite work or any of that nature. Small caveat: Airedale Terriers can do bite work. So she's part Airedale Terrier, maybe, but they are not common, and so we will see. We will see. I feel like you'd be into extreme sports with the risk of bodily harm and all. Um, some like I'm willing to try certain things. There are some that definitely scare me. But like something like bungee jumping or parachuting, like I I would try those as long as I was doing it in a place where I felt like the people running it knew what they were doing. Like I feel like I'd be okay doing it. Like if it was kind of this sketch situation, that sounds terrifying. Like like whitewater rafting. My wife went to school to do it, and it can actually be quite dangerous if you're with somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. In the hands of a good guide, you're usually fairly safe. Um, but somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, they can wrap you around a bridge or something, and that is potentially very deadly. And so it's like, as long as you're with people who know what they're doing and can protect it, it's like I have an extra degree of confidence. So no skydiving. I might try skydiving. Again, I feel like maybe like a tandem jump or something. I don't know that I would want to like do it on my own. With my luck, something would go wrong. That would be bad. But I'd probably try it. Like I'd be willing to try it. So that would be the thing is I think I'm willing to try. And that is both terrifying and amazing. Okay, well that's going. I was going to come over here real quick. Let's see. Close that. Close that. I'm going to have so many work trees to go clean up. Be great. We'll reset you back to master. I wanted to go here. I wanted to go here. The perf improvements went through. My MCP I need to rebase. Rebase. Do the needful. Auto resolve because I don't want to think real hard. How'd the presentations go? Quite well, actually. So, if the feedback is to be believed, the client was quite happy with the results. We went into it with this idea that because I didn't know what I was getting into with like cultural differences or any of that stuff, and we had been told that quite often there's cultural barriers to get people to interact, to ask questions. And so like I was worried I was going to get up there and just kind of stand there and talk for way too long all by myself without any feedback from people. And so that was my fear, but both days that I did it, there was lots of interaction from the people there, which was awesome. Like Now, admittedly, we had tried to do as much as we could to encourage people to talk. My boss, who's up in front of me, like his introduction was very much, "Hey, we want this to be interactive. Please ask Kevin questions." All of that kind of stuff. Their leaders, who also did an introduction, they kind of echoed the same message of, "Hey, let's make this interactive. Please ask questions." And people did, which was really cool because it was. I think the first day there was about 180, and then the next day there was like 120. I think is what it was, something like that. But not all of them were in person. They was like logistically doing these talks. The client only had rooms that could seat so many people. And so there was a decent number of people that were online. Some people were online too because they were in a different office that was further away. And so it wasn't practical to come in. So it's like there was a bit of that, but like, yeah, a lot of people. Yes, but at the same time, okay, story time. So when I was in high school, I was on a trip with our youth group, and one of the leaders, we had stopped at a, I don't know, a burger joint or something, and people were getting food, and we were all waiting for the food. And we're sitting around a table, and he grabs the salt shaker and goes, "Okay, okay, everyone, how many shakes?" And people, it starts going around the table, and people bidding of, how many shakes of salt into the mouth, right? Because high school boy, right? Like, of course. And so it gets to me. I go, okay, what's the highest bid? It was, I don't know, 8 or 9. And I probably could have gamed the system a little better, but I just kind of looked at the table. I was like, 50. And everybody thought I was insane. And, rightfully so. But the thing is, in my head, I was thinking about it. I'm like, when you start putting shake or things of salt into your mouth, right? Especially onto your tongue, it's gonna form a little mound, which means only that bottom layer is actually going to touch your tongue. And so the difference between, say, 20 and 50 is actually not that big, right? It's not like the difference between 1 and 2 is almost double. But as you add more shakes in, the amount of things that are going to stack versus the number of things that are actually going to touch your tongue is going to be reduced. So each shake, there's less and less actually touching your tongue. I thought I was clever. Shockingly, no one decided to bid against me, and I won, for lack of better words. And then I ate 50 shakes of salt. All of that to say, my opinion of giving talks to large groups is it's kind of the same way. Is like the smaller groups, like each person that comes in kind of adds a little bit to it. But the more and more people that come in, once you pass like 30, the amount of impact between like 30 and 50 is not that significant. Like each extra like it's 20 more people. It's like, yeah, but the difference between 1 and 20 is significant. The difference between 30 and 50 is not that significant. And so it's like, yeah, it's a lot of people, but it's not nearly as significant when there's already so many of them in there. So I don't know. That's my perspective on it, is because they're like, oh, how many people do we need to bring for this? Are we going to have enough mics and this and that and the other? I'm like, I'll be fine. They're like, really? It's just over 100 people. I'm like, yeah. And like after like 50 or 60, it's just one more person, right? And I will say, the other thing that I loved about Taiwan was the culture. Like there's a very strong emphasis there on like saving face and not making people feel embarrassed. And so like it was kind of a nice safety net because it kind of felt like nobody was going to like try to stick it to you type situation, which was kind of nice to have that little, like, you can obviously find jerks everywhere, but by and large everyone felt very nice and helpful because of that, because they didn't want to do something that would cause somebody else to lose face. So it was like, yeah, like I don't know, that just made it feel a little more safe to do things. But yeah, I thought it went well. I thoroughly enjoyed myself over there. Yeah, everyone is super polite. I completely agree. Like I loved all of the people. Um, I love the food. The food was amazing. There was one night where we had some food where we're like, yeah, no, like, but it was so after conference or teaching day number one of the people from the client had given us a restaurant recommendation, and they had sent us a Google Map pin. Great, fine. And we could not find this place. Despite having a Google Map pin that we thought we could walk right up to, we could not find the place. And we found a nice, helpful guy on the sidewalk. He didn't know where it was. Like it was, so we ended up walking into a kind of a random restaurant that we had found a block and a half away or so. And we didn't know what we were walking into. And like, I don't know what it was with that food. It did not sit well with me. Time to get back to the AI grindstone. Have fun. Yes, Izzy. Again next week. I am, at least at present, I don't have any more plans of canceling streams, but do watch for extra videos on the YouTube next week, because I do have more interviews dropping, and there's some cool updates coming next week. So, yeah. So the food that we got that didn't sit well with me, it was Japanese something. I don't like. It was somewhat difficult because we walked in and it was so soup with fried chicken, the best way to describe it. I don't think there was fish in anything that we ordered, but I didn't exactly know what I was eating because we kind of just looked at a menu and pointed at pictures. So, not 100% confident what I ate. The soup had various noodles. There was tofu. There was what we think was a blood cake in there. Like it wasn't bad, but it like it didn't. It was also one of the only places where, like, most of the time you get a very reasonably sized portion. Sometimes it felt too small from my American mindset. This place, we had so many people that couldn't finish their meal because it was just so much. Like the bowl itself, I think was like a quart or more. And then there was like 4 pieces of fried chicken on the side, and we're like, this is for one person? Yeah. Oh, it's like it was a lot of food. And so that also didn't help that I mean, we may have been trying to stuff in more than we probably should have. So that was exciting. But most of the food was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. I learned that I love scallion pancakes. Just as an American, when you hear the word pancake, remove everything in your head about what you think a pancake is. That is, when they say pancake over there, it means basically flat bready thing, or flat or thin bready thing. Because in this case, like pancake was more like, I don't know, croissant flattened roll stuffed thingy mabobber. So like it was definitely not what I would consider a quote unquote normal pancake. But it was good. And they would do sweet and savory, which was interesting. I had to wrap my head around the idea of savory for breakfast. It's like a crepe over there. Kind of. Let me see here. Uh, because I had to order. I had gotten a quote unquote tuna pancake, which I make tuna waffles here, and so when I saw tuna pancake on the menu, I'm like, I have to order it just so that I know what it is. That's not quite what it. Kind of. This is this is. I guess this is somewhat. This is close to, like, this is obviously not stuffed with the same stuff that I had, but something of this nature. Yeah. So because at this particular place they had English and Chinese on the menu, which was helpful, but sometimes the translation was weird. So yeah, this scallion pancakes thing, but the place that we went to was like a breakfast brunch place, and so they were only open till like 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and it was apparently good because the place was packed. So when in doubt, you always go to the restaurant that's packed, because it's either packed because it's cheap or packed because it's good. And so we had gotten a recommendation from one of the locals to go there, and it was very good. And they had a whole bunch of different scallion pancakes of different flavors, stuffings, however you want to put it. Some sweet, some savory, but it was good. I like it. It was kind of like tuna melty esque. So like, but yeah. But we had an absolute blast. We spent a bit of time at night markets, because they were quite popular there, and just like walking up and down. One of them we basically went there with the sole purpose of, okay, we're nearing the end of our trip. Let's go there and try all the foods that we haven't had a chance to try yet. Because the very first night, or the first day that we got there, we went and we did a food tour where this nice lady, Sunny, took us around, and basically there was like, I think 10 or 12 different stops along the way. But she basically explained kind of the history and proper etiquette of eating the food and that kind of stuff. And she took us all around a night market, showed it to us. But it was kind of a whirlwindy tour, and so we wanted to go back where we can go at a slower pace. Only thing I didn't like on that one was the stinky tofu. Not a fan of that. Like it was okay, and I ate it, but I wasn't happy I was eating it. So, which was fine. She's like, some people like it, a lot of people don't. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be in the don't case for this one. But most of the stuff was really good. The She gave us this like peanut ice cream stuff. Oh, that was really good. Oh, this is nightly release. Oops, wrong one. Um, and that like, cause peanut I like, cause there was like peanut ice cream, cilantro. Yeah, like I got very excited because there was the first hotel we got to, they had, we're just gonna kick the release. They had a Pepsi in the hotel fridge there, and I was so happy. I'm like, yes, I have found Pepsi. And then promptly could not. I am convinced Mountain Dew does not exist, because the only place I was able to find Mountain Dew over there was in an import export store, which was like half American food. Like, dang it! But I found Mountain Dew. In fact, I don't know if it's going to come through well or not, but I brought the bottle back with me so you can see, like, focus, do something. It was basically normal Mountain Dew with just Chinese on the label. So I did find it. Had to walk. Version number matches milestone. Oh, does not match MDAX 531. Oh, okay. Let's cancel workflow. We need to push a version bump. Open Visual Studio. I wasn't sure, because one of the things that Sunny told us on their food tour is apparently a lot of the Taiwan food is known for being sweeter than like some of the surrounding countries, which was interesting because I was like, sweeter. Mountain Dew is sweet. Obviously, this is the thing, but apparently not really. You had to go way out of your way. No, I only walked a mile and a half in the rain to get it. That was all. But darn it, because we kept trying, like, the online sites that claim, oh yeah, this store has it or this store has it, they lie. They lie. And when you ask for it, the people there look at you like they have no idea what you're asking for. They do not know what Mountain Dew is. That, like, it was not a name that was well recognized. Doritos, on the other hand, very popular, and they have flavors of Doritos over there that we can't get here. Like, they had this really hot, spicy one that was really good. They had cilantro flavored Doritos, which were excellent. I know it sounds weird, but like they had a lot of those, and they also have, because one of our hosts asked us the question, like, what was the biggest culture shock for us, and I was like, your guys' 7-Elevens. He was confused for a minute. I'm like, because we have 7-Eleven back in the U.S. The thing is, our definition of 7-Eleven and their definition of 7-Eleven are not, like, they are not the same, despite having the same logo on the front. And the fact that they both kind of sell some food items, that's where the similarities end. Their 7-Elevens are very nice. They are, like, our 7-Elevens are kind of creepy to go into for anybody not in the U.S. They are not known for being overly nice. They are kind of sketch in a lot of cases, especially the ones around me. but the ones that they have over there, like they have most of them have tables to sit down at. You can heat up food that you buy there. They sell they refer to them as convenience stores because they see them as being highly convenient. Let's see, can I yellow this? I think I can. Oh yeah. Um and so they like you can go in, some of them will even do luggage holds for you. You can mail letters there, like all kinds of stuff. Like as they put it, they are called convenience stores because they are convenient. And I actually took a screenshot of Google Maps at one point because on a like I think it was within about 100 yards, there were 3 7-Elevens. I was like, wow, you guys have a higher density of these convenience stores than we have of Starbucks, which I thought was hilarious. It's like that shouldn't be the case. But like I will say it was highly convenient. Whenever we needed something, you just walk into the nearest convenience store, which a lot of them, at least where we were 7-Elevens. There was also the other one, Family something. There's basically 7-Eleven and the other one were the two most common ones that you would see everywhere, and you could just walk in, get what you need, walk out. Most of the time, like most people there at least understood English, even if they didn't necessarily always speak it. Um, there was a handful of times people would go to reply to us, and it was like they couldn't think of the right English word, and so they'd pull their phone out and type it into the translator app to show it to us. Like one person when we were buying some food from him, he couldn't come up with the English word for slushy, and so it was one of those. He's like, "Hang on," grabs his phone, types it, turns around, shows it to us. Okay, got it. Thank you. So I was like, that's fine. Like, but again, they were all very nice about it, so it worked out well. And things were, I won't say cheap, but they were definitely less expensive than they are over here. Like the numbers are bigger, but like the Taiwanese dollar, I think it was when we were there was exchanging about 1 to 35. So like what I could get for 200 Taiwanese dollars felt like a decent amount of food. And I'm sitting there doing the math in my head going, okay, 200 divided by 35, that's not that much. And I'm like getting full meal type stuff and whatnot. Like it was, so, because what is that? 135. So $5 and change, give or take. It was like, it wasn't bad. And like, I think the Mountain Dews over there were 65 Taiwanese dollars. No, less than that, wasn't it? I'd have to go look. I took a picture of it. But yeah, it felt like things ended up being fairly inexpensive for us. So, oh, oh. Sorry. The exciting interview that I'm not telling people who it is just confirmed the time for Monday. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. Yeah, no, like I was and like I took a drink of it. My wife's like, "Does it taste like different dew?" And I'm like, "No, it pretty much tastes like Mountain Dew in a plastic because Mountain Dew in a plastic bottle and Mountain Dew in a can do not quite taste the same." But it was like it tastes like Mountain Dew out of a plastic bottle. As far as I could tell, there was no major difference between them. It was like, but after going like 6 days without a dew, it tasted so wonderful. Aside from the fact that I was cold and wet due to all the rain. Aside from that detail, it was wonderful. But yeah, so I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was wonderful. I would happily go back again. Happily go back. Um, yeah, so we'll see. Maybe I get lucky and the client decides that they want us to come over and do more stuff. They seem to think that it went well, so and I think they liked me. Um, yeah, and it was like one night our host took us out for a fairly nice dinner, and it was as he described it to a duck restaurant, which just meant that the main course was duck, as I discovered later. But like they bring out an entire roasted duck, and it was kind of funny because they get a lot of their protein from like fish, chicken, eggs, that that sort of stuff. And like on our food tour, the guide made some comment about, oh yeah, like this is easy if you guys want to make it when you get back to the U.S. Just go into the grocery store and get a roasted duck. And we're like, hold on, well, Sonny, our grocery stores typically don't just sell roasted duck. That's not a that's not a normal thing here. It's like we have ducks, but our grocery stores, like, we can go in and get a roasted chicken fairly easily, but roasted duck is not, like, that's not common around, at least where we are. That is not a common thing that I could just walk into the grocery store and say, do you have a roasted duck? I'm sure I could acquire a duck at like a butcher's or something, but it's not like, it's not in just the grocery store with all of the other meats of here's a fully roasted duck for you to go. So that surprised them a little bit. But yeah, it was like I enjoyed the meal because it was served on like one of those big lazy susans in the middle, and so they just kept bringing out bits of food, and you know everybody the lazy susan rotates around, everybody tries a little, and you keep going, and we got through what we thought was all of it, and our host looks at us and goes, "Yeah, there's three more courses." I'm like, "I'm sorry, what?" It's like, how? What? Like, I also realized the same way that we might say like, "Hey, how you doing?" as kind of a generalized greeting, they usually use the phrase. Let's see if I can get. Is it "Have you eaten?" Like food is very, very like normal. Yeah. Now, bear in mind, three courses was kind of like they were like one of the courses was a little dessert thing that I would argue was basically a bite and a half, but you know, three separate dishes did still come. So, but they seem like our host seemed most happy when there were leftovers because it was like, ah, I have clearly provided enough food because people are not hungry. So it was like having leftovers was it felt, at least from the perspective I got from him, was a good thing because it was like, ah, yes, everyone is full. We have had enough to eat. Okay, cool. I can get on board with that. I like food, especially their food. It was excellent. I will say the lack of beef, like I didn't realize how much I enjoyed my red meat until it was not common at all. Like they, because some of it is cultural of why they don't eat beef. Like there's certainly like when we went to the night market, there was a couple of vendors selling like what I'd call like regular barbecued beef type stuff. Like so it's definitely obtainable, but it is not one, it's more on the expensive side because the small island like place to graze cows is not as much is not as common. Most of their cows that they graze there are milking cows. Um, and then there's cultural barriers for why people may not want to eat the beef as well. So it's lower in popularity, not as readily plentiful, slightly more expensive because of that, and so it's just not like they'll get their protein from like egg or fish or otherwise. So I guess egg, fish, chicken, duck were the ones that I saw the most being done. But yes, it was great. It was very wonderful. We were slightly disappointed because it like we had sort of anticipated that the sushi over there would be good, but every attempt that we made to go and get sushi, we got stymied on. Like one time we got a recommendation from the hotel we were staying at of, oh yeah, there's a great sushi place, just around the corner. We're like, great. We walk over there, they're closed. It's like, dang it. There's a sign on the door that said something to the effect of, sorry, closed just for today. I'm like, dang it, we only have today. um and then like there was another opportunity we had, but it was after we had already eaten a ton of food and we were like, I don't really want to eat more. It's like it looks good. It feels like it should be good. I want to, but I can't. But we did have a bunch of like we had there. So they served a bunch of bass to us while we were there, and that was delicious. Okay, cool. So this guy's going to build. We're going to have a full production release. It will go, it will release. We will be off to the races. Yeah. Yeah. Sushi was not meant to be. It was unfortunate, but I would have taken it. Like I enjoyed here. We did get complimented from our host at one point because they had sort of anticipated that we would not be good with chopsticks. Like apparently that's the standard stereotype. American, no chopsticks. But everyone in our group, like at least around here, like we will go out and get sushi, and so like I'm not great with chopsticks, but I'm also not going to starve. So our host looked around at one point. He's like, "Oh," because they had intentionally set out forks for everyone too. It was like they anticipated failure immediately. He's like, "Oh, you all actually know how to use chopsticks." It's like, yes. They're like, really? We're like, I don't think we're a good sample of the stereotypical American, but yes, at least in this group, we all have enough skill to not starve. So it was kind of funny to hear that reaction of, oh, that's kind of funny. Great. So and then we did go here. I'll pull up a picture of this one. Um, they have a for a while it used to be the tallest building in the world. Um, where is the a good picture of it? I realize I'm not sharing. I will fix that. So Taipei 101. Um, it tall. It very very tall. Um, but you go. So we went up. What was it, the 85th or 86th floor, something like that, for the viewing one. Because it's the tallest thing around, and so the viewing from up there is amazing. Um, yeah, though this one we went, I want to say it was like 86 floors in 45 seconds. Like the elevator, very smooth, but the speed at which it accelerated, like you get the ear popping sensation, like when you go up in an airplane. Like it was zoop, because like we got crammed into the elevator because there they will absolutely cram into elevators to get, especially if there's a line, they want to try to get as many people through as possible. And so they will pack you in tight. But then and I'm sitting there like, man, this is gonna be a long trip, and then it's over in 45 seconds. I'm like, oh well, that wasn't bad at all, and that elevator was remarkably smooth. So like it was a trip getting and they've got nice viewing stuff set up and little picture spots up there, and they've got little vendors selling different food things, and they've got a free swinging pendulum. I think that I don't know if that's the right word. In there that you can actually go in and see that, because when the hurricane winds or the earthquakes hit it, you need something to counterbalance so the tower doesn't come crashing down. So you can actually go in there. Apparently, this tower has gone through multiple hurricanes, earthquakes. Like they had a whole video thing on it of how it was actually one of the safer places to be when like a hurricane came through. I'm like, I know scientifically that may be true, but mentally, I don't want to be that high up in that building. That just sounds like a bad like. It's one of those cases where the math may work out, but functionally, I feel like no, no. I would like to be somewhere not up there. That sounds like a very, very bad idea. Because like I think the first like three or four, or was it 4 or 5 floors maybe, were like stereotypical shopping mall type situation. Now I should say stereotypical high end shopping mall. Like they had some very expensive shops in there to where like these were the types of shops where they have security guards posted at every door type shops. That was the other thing. Crime over there is incredibly low. Like stealing just doesn't happen, which was just shocking to me. Like people would leave their bags and stuff just like sitting there and walk away. And I'm going, that doesn't work in America. Now, admittedly, they do have an extensive CCTV network. They've got like police officers walking around and security guards everywhere. So it's not like it's one of the trust but verify situations. And I will say the security guards in most places were as much there to be a help as to enforce things. Like the number of times where I was like moving my luggage around and a police officer comes over and goes, "Here, let me help you," and just gets me through the gates. I was like, "Oh, thank you. I'm not used to this either," but it was great. I'll take it. So yeah, we definitely ran around, and there was a lot of like we had some longer days, and it was, but it was one of those is like we didn't want to miss stuff. Like yes, we could have slept in more, and but then we would have had less time to like go see stuff. So it was like we kind of wanted to go out and experience as much as possible. And like we rode their metro and their trains and the high speed rail, and like that was amazing because we don't have like good train systems here, at least definitely not compared to what they've got. So it was fun. It took us a little while to figure out the logistics of it. Um, but again, the people that they had at all of the stations were like they were willing to help you if you just said, "Hey, I'm trying to get here. How do I get this?" It's like, "Okay, you gotta walk down this like the Taipei main station for their rail system." My watch claimed that the walking distance when I had to change lines was just about a half a mile. Like big station, lots of walking. It's like, oh, and if it was only because we were changing rail systems from company A to company B that we had to like traverse the entire station, but it was like a half mile of walking to get from point A to point B. And it like, and especially when you don't know where you're going and half the directions are in Chinese and you're like, I don't know what sign I'm supposed to follow. Like once we realized what things meant, it became a lot easier because then we could just follow the icons. It's like, okay, I know what that icon means. I go that way, right? It was easy once you got it explained to you. But it was when we got there the first night, we had been up for like I don't know 18, 19 hours, and we're like sleep deprived trying to navigate in an area where we didn't speak the language and didn't know what anything said. It was like, Google Translate, save me. Yeah, there was a number of times we kind of got lost and wandered for a bit, and but it was totally fine. Like it felt very safe the whole time we were there. Like even walking out at night down dark alleys, like there was areas that definitely felt more sketch than others, but it like I never felt very worried about it. But I'm also 6'2". That was the other thing. It was nice being taller than everybody. Like very consistently, I was the tall guy on the train, which was fun. I did learn most of the stuff that they have there is built 2 meters high, which thankfully 2 meters is bigger than 6'2", but not by much. There was a number of ceilings and doorways where I'm sitting there going, that ceiling's real close to my head. This is no 8 foot ceiling. There were things that were literally marked at 2 meters, and I'm like, yeah, yeah, that's a little close. Clearly, I am not built for this area, which was kind of funny. So it's like, oh, okay, just you gotta duck on some stairwells, and you gotta just watch your head a little bit, and you'll be fine. Totally fine. Totally fine. Okay. Whew. I think I might need to crash. I think I've mostly recovered. I think it took me about 4 days to get back. Did anyone comment on your height? Um, only sort of, and I think they were. I kind of got the impression it was one of those things that they were worried that it might be an embarrassment thing or otherwise. But like our host made a comment about it because he was not expecting to be as tall as I was because they had met me before, but it had only been virtually, and it's very hard to judge somebody's height when you only see them from about here up. Like, how tall is somebody when you can only see the top little bit of them? It's not trivial to know. Like, if you watch that interview video that I did with Tim Corey, you may not realize this. Tim Corey is bigger than me, but and not by just a little bit. Like, he is very tall, which is fine. But when you don't realize that, and then you meet somebody in person, you're like, "Hi, how are you?" Like, that is very much a thing. So, and I think for him, it felt a little safer because we had met before, and there was a little bit of that in place. Just in case anybody hasn't found it, there's my interview playlist where there is going to be more stuff dropping. So, latest one dropped this morning, and then next one is probably Wednesday or Thursday. We'll see. Now that I just got confirmation that it's happening, now I now have to do some time zone conversions. So I don't know how long I can keep this up because I hadn't intended to do like weekly interview videos, but I keep finding people and I've got 3 more scheduled. So at least for the next little bit, I'm going to just keep doing it and we'll see how it goes. So, feels fine, I think. So, I just got to figure out that is mountain time. I need to adjust my calendar appropriately and make it fit, but let's see. Yes, very very happy it's going to go through. So, I guess with that said, I think I will wrap up for the night. Or I burn myself out too much. I have to go research doggy stuff now as well because I've got 2 weeks to be prepped. So, but yes. So thank you for dropping in, Cutie, and thank you everyone else for coming and hanging out. Like I said, the material design release is going out the door as we speak, so it will probably beat the nightly release out, and so see how it goes. And then hopefully in a couple of weeks, I guess it'll be three streams out before I potentially have a doggy to show off. So we'll see how she does. She might have to come make an appearance, but we'll see if she's up to it because new puppies sometimes are not happy about brand new environments and are terrified for the first little bit. So we'll see. Hopefully she enjoys it here. We've got animals for her to chase and yards to run in, so that will be good. So with that, I will tell everybody happy coding. Thank you for coming and hanging out. See everyone next time.